You were a deer back in the day? Drop everything. I really wish I read more for fun and more for leisure. I do a lot of reading of student work, and don't get me wrong, student work can be really exciting and really engaging, and it can be really boring and monotonous.
Barnes and Nobles, bookstore, baby.
Kids nowadays, reading isn't cool. I want to refute that narrative and say I think a lot of our kids are reading. They're just reading the things that we may not agree with or we may not like or that are not suitable for our taste. And I think this is where we as adults have to come in and help our kids have a balanced diet of information regarding reading. Reading an online blog is different than reading a hard copy book. It just has a different sensory experience when you're reading a hard copy book versus being online. You know, one of the things I wish I did more often was go to the bookstore or go to the library. I didn't do that enough as a kid. And that's no shade at my parents. My parents are working hard. It was on me. I don't think I had my eyes open to see the vast amount of books that are out there. And sure, you could argue that back in the day, the books were not as quote unquote multicultural. The books were not as inclusive. True story. You could argue that. But I think the beauty in going to the library and the bookstore is the discovery. Before COVID, I was really, really good at going to the public library in Oakland almost every weekend. Even if I didn't pick up books, it was just the walk there to the library, the smell of the library, the picking out the books, the seeing the people read. There was just something about the ambiance of being in a library or a bookstore that was really motivating and really encouraging. I always feel like an imposter when it comes to bookstores because I feel like I just haven't read enough and I don't read enough. And more I realize the more I put myself in position to be near books, the less insecure I feel or envious I feel in that I'm putting myself in position to win by being near books. Get some recommendations from the kids. It's a point of conversation. It also invites this community building, this rapport building, this exchange of just taste and personal interest. Books start conversations, and if you facilitate the conversations just right, it opens up this dialogue to humanize one another, to get to know one another as people, not just as teacher or student.
All my comic book nerds out there.
I grew up reading Rainbow, man. LeVar Burton was that dude. Talk about representation. That black man meant a lot to a lot of kids, not just the black ones. He raised a generation. I don't think I can call myself a good teacher if I did not read. I don't think I can call myself a competent teacher if I did not read. I don't think I can call myself a good global citizen if I did not read. I think one of the things that has kept me reading is being a writer. As a writer, you want to read a lot to study style, study craft, study techniques.
There's so many good books out there. Yeah, there's so many good books.
And I want to tell the kids there's just different ways of accessing a book, whether that's reading as a fan, reading as a student, and reading as a writer. So this is why I think reading is so fundamental. It's about increasing, deepening, and growing your variety of literacies beyond just a print text. I don't care what fish the kids catch in terms of the books they read per se. I just want to give them the tools to fish, that they know how to fish, they know they can fish, and they feel confident while fishing, so to speak. I'm using fishing as a way to talk about reading. Given that we're currently living in a society where there's fake facts and disinformation and misinformation and a lot of opportunities for miseducation, this is why I think reading is so important. Picking up that book is a part of your ownership of your own education, you being an active participant, an active agent in your own knowledge base building. Reading is a radical act of liberation. It is a radical act of self-love. It is a radical act of protest, especially when you think historically information has been hidden or taken away from people. Now, you got to be careful. There's a bombardment of information when you open that web browser, when you click on that YouTube video. We all have to be able to filter. We all have to have a habit of mind, the tools to evaluate, source, to really measure the credibility of a source. I think that's where I come in as a school teacher. I'm not here to tell a kid what book is good or bad. That's not my place. But I want to make sure they have the tools to make it through a book, the tools to find the book, the tools to decipher and dissect the text, whether that text is digital, print. Why does this all matter? Because I work with young people, I get to see the entire world from their point of view. And I get to see their experiences as a reflection of the world that we're living in, that we've created, a world that they may be running from, a world they're trying to escape, a world they're trying to improve, a world they're trying to better, a world in which they're just trying to be safe.
Hey, it's D. White, founder of JustBlackThoughts.com. If you haven't done so, hit subscribe on YouTube. Follow me at The Other English Teacher on Instagram and YouTube. Peace.